Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. And we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more on distinguishing yourself, individuating yourself, empowering yourself as a result of really rekindling your inner life purpose after being in a very confusing, chaotic, or hurtful relationship with a covert narcissist or a psychopath. Someone essentially who has dimmed your lights in your life to make them shine brighter. A feeling of inferiority, a feeling of being ashamed, a feeling of social anxiety or depression can oftentimes be the result of being in a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath, a covert narcissist, someone who, unbeknownst to you, is operating and living life and engaging in a relationship with you that is typified with a pathological sense of self-importance. So there's not a common bond, there's not a common congruity. You are finding that there's a lot of pathological lying going on. Your needs are not being met, attended to, recognized or validated, and you're just swallowing a lot of crow. You're swallowing a lot of hurt. You're swallowing a lot of neglect. And you're swallowing a lot of withholding of affection, communication, respect, which is, the acknowledging of who you are, what you need, how your day went, how you feel, what's important to you, what do you want to do, like having that open transparency. And oftentimes there's very much a lack of accountability when it comes to a narcissist or a psychopath in their side of the relationship. In other words, a lot of false promises broken, saying, the cognitive dissonance, saying one thing and doing another. I'll say it again, saying one thing and doing another. So saying that they're going to do this, but meanwhile, they're actually they have no commitment or, intent to back it up. So you kind of feel like they're dropping the ball. They are not, following through. And you're realizing that you're paying the price. And you might have paid the price through not being able to go places, not being able to, feel good when you're out with other couples, not being able to have your health needs met, or you're finding that your emotions are now creating this, degraded state or culture or climate within your body, and you're experiencing a lot of degenerative diseases, the arthritis, the depression, the insomnia, the autoimmune diseases, which are, can be elicited environmentally. The thing is, you have to look at, what are the safe health practices of this individual, and, realize that you can become, you can get the herpes virus, you can get other flu viruses through, undisciplined sexual connections. So, and then realize that, now there's a higher presence of autoimmune diseases more than ever. The autoimmune diseases like lupus, Lou Gehrig's disease, I think, is one. The rheumatoid arthritis, if I didn't mention, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple sclerosis, all these sort of autoimmune diseases, which oftentimes are the immune system going and attacking your own tissues, which are positive, which are good, which are essential for your functioning. But the blood-brain barriers or certain barriers are now being broken down. The immune system is on hyperdrive. It's going places where it should not be. And oftentimes the body is triggered into these degenerative states because of incidents of other viruses, the herpes simplex, the mononucleus, all those other sort of exposures to these diseases, which hitherto you would not have been exposed to if you're not with, someone who's maybe living life on those sort of narcissistic or psychopathic terms. And there is something called healthy narcissism, which is like a compliment, you look great today, et cetera, et cetera. There's healthy narcissistic needs where you are then acknowledged. But if you have not been acknowledged on these for so long, it's probably a miracle that you have made it as far as you have, especially if you've stayed with a narcissist for so long. You might find yourself like really hurting and finding yourself needing to reinvent yourself like later in life, which does take some tools. It does take some motivation. It does take some really rapid behavior change, and you need to get leverage right away and just start doing things right away. Just start making choices, making decisions, backing yourself up, identifying what you're needing, and not feeling ashamed, not doubting yourself, because it is that depletion of serotonin in that feel-good neurochemical, which is then related to the lack of self-belief and the lack of being able to follow up and, feeling like you can reinforce and back up your needs and get what you need. So you need to begin to identify that. And as I talk about in the recovery journal, how important it is to schedule Emotements. Emotements is the term that I'm giving to 1 hour and 2 hour blocks of time where you're now engaging in specific emotional feelings and living those and feeling those for a specific amount of time. Those feelings especially which you have been deprived of and are in need of. In other words, let me get, do I have my appointment book here? Yes, I do. Excuse me while I drift away from the screen and I pull up this very specific appointment book. And I'm going to come up with a term for this healing appointment book. But it's going to have something like this, where you, there we go, get my little upholstery thing here. So your appointment book is going to be for whatever year you're in. Right now we're in the year 2017. And I want you to be able to schedule out and block in amounts of time called Emotements, and as well as the recovery date, the recovery gift. There's a number of different tools, but for example, we are going to schedule, and I have a number of these books. And as I mentioned before, for example, like let's say we're in November and you need to be surrender, be inspired. And I want you furthermore to get a number of different highlighter pens which have different colors, which are color coordinate with what you what you need to feel, be, and become. And why do I talk about the importance of having highlighters? Because when you block in this time, forgive me for the shaking, as you can see, I just go for this. So when you have your highlighters, you are highlighting and color coordinating in a vibrancy, and you're allowing the vibrancy of color to work to get you into that mode. You're allowing yourself, your subconscious to get in there. So if you need to be surrender, let's say you're blocking in your emotement, and so you're going to write in your emotements, and these are, you can schedule these in 5 times a week, 7 times a week, 10 times a week, whatever you need. But it's a block of time where you are then focusing on feeling this specific emotion. And whether it's you need to feel guided,